Khafji controlled the main coastal highway leading from Saudi Arabia to Kuwait City. At 11 o'clock Tuesday night, the first wave, an attacking Iraqi tank column, was spotted by U.S. Marines of the 3rd Regiment, 1st Division. The attack came from the vicinity of the Al Wafra oil fields. The Marines called in artillery support and managed to stop the Iraqi attack. At nearly the same time, an Iraqi mechanized infantry battalion began driving down the coastal highway and charged into Ras al-Khafji. Khafji was not heavily defended, with only a scattering of border forces. The Iraqis used a ruse to enter the area, pretending to surrender to cross the border unopposed. The Iraqis occupied the city with little opposition. The Saudi army and allied Qatari tank units began moving up into the area once the attack had been reported. A third Iraqi attack was launched between Khafji and Wafra, but ran head-on into Saudi and Qatari armor. The Qatari AMX-30 tanks with supporting anti-tank missile vehicles shot up the Iraqi column and halted it at the border. The unopposed Iraqi drive into Khafji infuriated the Saudis, who insisted on retaking the city themselves. Unknown to the Iraqis, 2 Marine artillery spotter teams were still present in the city. They played a deadly cat-and-mouse game, evading Iraqi forces while calling in artillery fire support.
This is where you were for 2 days during the battle.
2 days, we were right here. We're right here, they were down below. They even walked down those stairs we walked up.
Iraqis,
you could hear voices, Iraqis, those APCs you see out there burning. They're circling the building. We were up here shaking. I'm shaking now, just being back here.
You were actually helping Marines out there with the artillery fire in here into the city during the battle?
Exactly, that's our job. That's what we did. And another team as well. Another team that was up north about 700 meters. They did it as well.
So the whole time you thought Iraqis could capture you at any minute, could kill you, you were still trying to call in fire?
Yes, sir. We burnt all our crypto. We were ready to fight out. I don't know what everyone else's mind was, but I wasn't getting taken alive. And the only time we stopped shaking, well, I should speak for myself, was when I was calling in fire, and it was devastating. You can look out there. Sorry, you can look out there. It was devastating.
The Saudis launched a hasty attack with a National Guard mechanized battalion, which was repulsed. The Saudis kept up the attack, bringing in additional armor and Marine units. The Saudi attacks were supported by U.S. Marine artillery fire and air support. The Iraqi attacks near Khafji continued. An Iraqi amphibious landing force was sent down the coast, aiming to cut off Khafji. It was caught out in the open by U.S. and British naval aircraft and largely destroyed. The fighting for Khafji itself lasted for 36 hours. The Saudis made repeated attacks against determined Iraqi resistance. Allied air power prevented the elements of the Iraqi 5th Mechanized Division inside Khafji from being reinforced. After house-to-house fighting, the Saudi forces were in control once again of Khafji. The Iraqis lost about 30 dead and more than 450 prisoners. They also lost over 100 armored vehicles in the border area alone. As the Allied forces began interrogating Iraqi prisoners, it soon became clear that Khafji had been intended as much more than a minor border skirmish. Saddam Hussein had planned the attack as a major offensive involving 3 of his best armored and mechanized divisions and about a quarter of his total tank strength in the Kuwait theater. The Allied bombing and artillery fire thoroughly disrupted his plans. Only one division managed to begin the attack on Khafji on time. The other two divisions began the attack 12 to 24 hours late. By that time, Allied strike aircraft were swarming over Kuwait, attacking anything that moved. Iraqi reinforcements intended for the Khafji battle were destroyed before they had a chance to move south. The battle at Khafji was an important turning point in the war. It clearly showed to coalition commanders that the Iraqis were incapable of conducting sustained operations in the face of Allied air superiority. It also clearly revealed that the average Iraqi infantryman, low on food and water and weary of the war, was unlikely to fight tenaciously.
I think it was extremely critical, number one, for the confidence and for the morale of the Saudi forces. And in many respects, this was a Saudi victory with our support. The Iraqis, as you well know, are reputed to be the biggest and the best military in the Middle East. But this Saudi success has proven that they may no longer be the best, and many more defeats like this for the Iraqis, and they certainly will no longer be the biggest either.
The importance of Khafji was not widely recognized at the time, but the performance of the Iraqi army made the coalition commanders confident that a ground offensive would go much more smoothly than they had originally anticipated.